Hey, everybody. Mother Teresa here. It's time to grandstand. Listen, if you haven't called a friend and let them know that I'm on, go ahead and call your friend. If you hadn't gotten your snack, your favorite beverage, go ahead and get that too. We're about to grandstand on tonight. It's Tuesday night, probably about 7:01. And we are about ready to get started. You know, I have to get all of my things together. But a good evening, everybody. Good evening. On this April 1st, everybody, come on in. Come on in. Hey, everybody. This is Mother Teresa here with Grandstanding. If this is your first time joining me, I would like to say welcome. You are definitely in for a treat on tonight. We're going to talk about reset and refresh, spring cleaning for the soul. So again, if this is your first time, welcome. If you've a faithful listener, you've been with me for a while, then welcome back. So on this morning, I shared with everybody to be sure to tell the truth on today. I think so many people look forward to this day so they can tell their April Fool's joke. Now, I don't know what the origins of this day, where they came from, how it got started. Maybe somebody can look that up for me, honey, if you want to look that up for me and put that in the chat so we'll know where the origins of April Fool's Day come from. Please go ahead and do that. If you know, go ahead and put it in the chat. So we're going to get started talking about spring cleaning for the soul. You know, a lot of times when it is the springtime, what do we do for the springtime? What are the things that we enjoy about the springtime? If you're like me, I enjoy being able to get outside, to sit on my back patio. Well, I don't necessarily have to have a reason to go sit on my back patio. I just enjoy doing so. But being able to go and sit on my back porch during the springtime, there are two things that I enjoy about that. I know, first of all, I know that the summer is coming, but it gives me an opportunity to just get out there and be able to enjoy being outside where it's not too hot, okay? It's not too hot, but also the other part of that is that if you have flowers in your yard or you've planted some things, then you're beginning to see those sprouts coming up. You're beginning to see the results of your labor. We talked about on last week, seed time and harvest. Well, now it's time to see all of those beautiful flowers that you have planted. So yes, so it's a good time for spring. Now, the bad part about that, I will say for me, is the allergies. I know that when I am sitting outside, that if I am out there for too long of a time, then I'm going to have the itchy, runny eyes. I'm going to have all of that congestion. I'm going to have all of that stuff that go along with the springtime. But listen, that's not going to keep me inside. Now, I will tell you all, I cannot pull up my honey, and don't worry about it because I know you'll be in here in a little bit. There it goes. I was going to say I cannot pull up to see who's on here, but I can see. So I'm going to say this. Hey, Mama. Hey, Net. And, of course, Honey is here. Miracle may not be on yet, but please don't let me forget to wish Miracle a happy birthday. I was thinking about Miracle. Well, I'm going to hold that later because I know she's going to probably come on a little bit later. So let's talk about reset and refresh. During the springtime, what is another thing that we do? If you're like me, or like I used to be, during the springtime, it was time to clean out the closets. That's why it's called spring cleaning. It's time to get rid of some of the stuff that you have that's in your closet or in your home that you're no longer using. And a lot of times people say it's time to clean out those closets. And so a lot of times that's what we will do is we will actually make sure that we're cleaning out our closets and we're getting rid of a lot of those things that we're no longer using. But I also want to say that there is another way that another thing that we can use the springtime for. And that is we talked about, or I shared with you that we're going to talk about reset and refresh, spring cleaning for the soul. So you may not have heard it put like this. Just like we take the time to clean out our closets and clean out some of the baggage that's in our home, maybe we need to explore the possibilities of how we should let go some of the emotional and the spiritual baggage and to welcome a renewed sense of being. Now, that is a loaded thing to say because sometimes what happens, and I heard somebody say this earlier, that they were holding on to some baggage that they knew that they needed to let go. I think I remembered where I heard that. They were holding on to some baggage that they knew that they needed to let go because they wanted to hang on to it. They were not ready to let go of that for whatever reason. And let me just also say this, that a lot of times when we are in relationships that have become what I would say enmeshed, or the boundaries have become blurred, sometimes we remain in those relationships. Hey there, mama. Sometimes we remain in those relationships because we are actually getting something out of it. And as bad as it may seem, um, you're still getting something out of it. Hey, TJ, I'm going to give you a call in a little bit later, okay? So a lot of times we don't want to let go of the baggage. We don't want to let go of that emotional and the spiritual things that is weighing us down, because guess what happens when you let it go? You then have to deal with all of those things that you were holding on to. And I don't know how many of you all used to watch Iyanla Vanzant, but I really loved watching her. And I love watching her because, hello there, Chantel. I love watching her because her style, first of all, she would always say that she's not a counselor. She was a life coach. So a lot of times the life coach and a counselor, our training is very, very different. Now, her style was one of confrontational. She liked to confront the people, to kind of get in their face, and that's how she was able to get them to do, to kind of come to the reality of that there are some changes that need to be made. Now, I'm not that confrontational type person. I want to kind of walk alongside of you and allow you to come to the realization of these are some things that you need to do in order to get to where you want to get to. But she used to talk about doing the work, being able to do the work in order to move forward. And that's kind of what I'm talking about on tonight, is that as we shift seasons and as we begin to grow in the natural sense, we've got to remember that we do not want to become stagnant in the emotional and the spiritual sense. We've got to be able to clear out some space in our mind, our hearts, and our souls in order to allow some new feelings to come up. Because guess what? When you are emotionally heavy with the baggage from your past or the baggage from different things that have happened to you, we are a little bit stunted. And I know you may say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Sometimes when we're holding on to things or we have unforgiveness, bitterness. I also heard something about bitterness on this week, early in the week as well. When we are holding on to all of those things, it does something to us physically, uh, emotionally, spiritually. We cannot move forward in the manner in which we need to move forward because we're weighted down. When you think about and let's just talk an analogy of a suitcase. If you pack a suitcase full of rocks, heavy rocks, that suitcase is going to be fairly difficult to carry. But if that suitcase has just clothes in it, or it may have paper in it, or something very lightweight, you're going to that suitcase is going to be much easier for you to carry. And that's the way it is in our lives when we are carrying around emotional baggage, when we are carrying around unforgiveness, when we're carrying around bitterness. Because let me just tell you, sometimes when you're carrying around those things, that person who you are holding a grudge against, and sometimes I'm just going to say, listen, you may be well within your right to hold that, to feel some kind of way against a person. You may be well within your right to say, listen, I'm not going to allow that person to get close to me because of the things that have happened in the past. And rightfully so, you should be cautious. But don't do it to the fault of where it is eating you up on the inside, or it's causing you to have that feeling of, when I see that person, my stomach just turns. Because if that is what's happening, and listen, you all, when I'm talking to you all, I am talking to me first. Okay. So just know that. And I can say this because there have been some things that have been done to me, that I have had to say, okay, God, I can choose to hold on to this bitterness. I can choose to not forgive. I can choose to keep my distance and not even talk to this person, or I can be forgiving. I can allow God to heal my heart, and I can move forward in freedom. And that's what it's all about, you all, is when you're cleaning your soul, the spring cleaning for your soul, it's all about releasing yourself. Because when we are holding on to things, when we are looking at what's taking up space in our life that no longer aligns with, I would say, our purpose and how we want to feel, it's doing what I just said. It's taking up space. And let me just tell you, I'm at a point in my life, at an age in my life, where I only want what I want to feel my life to be a part of my life. I don't want to be thinking about the things that happened yesterday or that hurt me, or the people in my past that hurt me. I don't want to deal with that. I want to say, okay, God, I'm old enough, I'm mature enough, I am seasoned enough, I've read enough of your word, I understand the power of forgiveness, so I need to be released so I can move forward. And sometimes, let me just tell you all, there are situations where people may do something against you, and sometimes they don't even realize that they have harmed you. But yet we've been holding on to that thing and saying, well, they know that they did what they did. Well, sometimes they don't. Just to be honest, they don't know that this was offending you, or this offended you. Now, I'm not saying that's the case for every situation. I'm definitely not saying that. But what I am saying is that sometimes, all right, hello there, Miracle. I'm going to get right back to this. Listen, Miracle, I want to tell you something. First of all, I want to say happy birthday. I'm not sure how old you are, but I can remember your birth. I do something. Listen, I am really fixing to go down a rabbit trail. And for those that watch me know I can go down a rabbit trail. And that's okay. That's okay. Miracle, I can remember when you were born. I can remember all of the circumstances. Well, I ain't gonna say all, but a lot of the circumstances that happen in your life. Now, I'm gonna share with you something that I do for my children. I do what's called their birthday story. And I share with them their birthday story. Will had been out of town since Friday, and he came back home yesterday just as the family was gathering to celebrate him and Boris's birthday. Now, as Will came down the stairs, of course, he was giving me a hug and kiss, and I said, "Sit down, son. I need to tell you your birthday story real quick." And as I began to share with him his birthday story, and my kids, I know my two daughters are on here, and my husband is on here. I don't know why God gave me to start sharing the birthday stories with my kids, but I get such a joy out of sharing with them the different things that happen on the day of their birth. Sometimes I'll switch it up and I'll tell them about the events that was leading up to their birth. But I always try to call them or get into why I am so very grateful for them and how blessed I am as their mother, that God has chosen me to be their mother. And so I tell them this on their birthday and for their birthday stories. And just as much joy as I get out of sharing their birthday stories with them, I kind of sense that they get just as much joy in hearing it. I've tried to get my husband to join in with me, but he always tells me, "Honey, that's your thing. That's your thing." But listen, we all have a birthday story. And I say all of that to say this. Miracle, I remember your story. I remember a portion of it that I could see from the outside looking in. And let me just tell you, I'm going to get a little bit teary-eyed about it, because when I say y'all, we serve a God that is so amazing. And I hope that Carolyn doesn't mind me sharing some of her story. But you all know sometimes we can be in a situation, mothers or ladies, where we don't realize that we are with child, because we still have a cycle. We still have all of those things that you typically have. And that was the case for Miracle. That was the case for Miracle. Thank you, honey. My honey is on it. That was the case for Miracle. And so when, God, I thank you, because you prove yourself over and over and over again. Because just as so many people, they have children without any prenatal care, I was in the same situation. But listen, I knew I was pregnant, okay? But I was a teen mom, and I didn't have any prenatal care. And the same thing with Carolyn is that, first of all, we did not know, Carolyn did not know that she was pregnant with Miracle. And all of the things that my sister Carolyn, she's had some medical issues. We all have medical issues. But when Carolyn let us know that she had given birth to Miracle on April Fool's Day, which I say is not April Fool's Day. This is a blessed day. Miracle, you are appropriately named Miracle, because you are just that. You are not only your mom and your dad's miracle, but you are our miracle. And I just want to say, Miracle, I love you so very much. I love you so very much. I love the fact that, that God gives us and he blesses us. Sometimes we don't even know what we need. We don't understand the things that he's doing in our lives. But I'm so very thankful. And I was thinking about you on today, Miracle. And I said, I appreciate the fact that Miracle tunes in almost every single Tuesday that I am on. Now, I have other nieces and I have other nephews, and sometimes they will tune in. And actually, I found out, Austin told me, he said, Amy, me and the wife, we watch you. We don't watch you live, but we do catch you all, me on the replay. So for all of my nieces and nephews that watch me after the fact, I appreciate you all. But I want to tell you, Miracle, thank you for your sacrifice in making sure that you tune in with me every Tuesday. And even sometimes when she's running late, she'll send me a message to say, I'm running late, Aunt Teresa, but I'm going to try to get on. Miracle, thank you so much, baby. I appreciate you so very much. And when I talk about reset and refresh, spring cleaning for the soul, you all, crying is a way to cleanse your soul. And sometimes people don't want to cry. They don't want to, that ugly cry or whatever. But let me just tell you all, sometimes you just need to cry it out. And not every time that you're crying because you're sad. Sometimes you're crying because you're happy. And I just wanted to say, and I had said before you got on, Miracle, I said, listen, you all, don't let me forget to say happy birthday to Miracle. So happy birthday to Miracle. If you're on here, everybody, if you all could just put some hearts up for Miracle, shout her out and say happy birthday to Miracle. I know I'm going to have people that are on YouTube that are going to be watching. Just know that today is my niece's birthday. Her name is Miracle, and I just shared with you a little bit of her birthday story. So we want to say happy birthday to Miracle. Also, happy birthday to my nephew, Ryan. Today is his birthday as well. And we just celebrated my son's birthday. My son, William, just turned 21 on yesterday. My husband turned 61 on last Thursday. And we celebrated my mom's birthday on March 13th. She was 82 years old. And all I can say is that I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the friends that have joined in. I'm just thankful, you all. And again, I know I got off. I went down a rabbit trail. I thought I saw something where somebody said, I like when you go down those rabbit trails and everything. Well, I'm so glad that you do, because I know it's not going to stop. Miracle, thank you again. She says she looks forward to Tuesdays. And I'm taking care and I'm breathing. You all, my time is gone. My time is gone. Mom is 82. Thank you, Boris. My mom is alive and well and listening to me right now. And so, yeah, my mom is 82. My husband just corrected me. Thank you, honey. We are helpers one to another. So listen, you all. Sister Sherry, it was me. Oh, okay. Thank you, Sister Sherry. Yes, because I can go down those rabbit holes, trails. I can just kind of get all whatever. But I want to leave you all with this. As I was talking about reset and refresh, spring cleaning for the soul, just know that we have to be able to release our past hurts, the guilt, the unforgiveness, the fear. We've got to reset our mind. And I often talk about taking that 5 deep breaths to reset ourselves. We've got to reset our mind. If we want to have our soul in a good place, if we want to refresh and reset, we've got to be able to reset our mind. And then we got to make sure that we are making room for what's next in our lives. When we get rid of things, just like when we clean out our closet, a lot of times we're cleaning out our closet because guess what? We're anticipating buying some new clothes, right? Well, the same thing is when you make room in your mind, we are allowing God to take away all of those things that I said before, and we're allowing God to fill us now with some peace, with some joy, with some clarity of mind. All of those things, if we can get rid of that other stuff, uh, we can just make sure that we are allowing him to give us and fill those spaces with other things. It says we were actually at Chili's and was waiting on the waitress. And I looked at the time and I was like, oh my God, I'm missing it. Oh, Miracle, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. And I love you, sweetheart. I love you so much. Listen, there has been a lot of chatter in the comments, and I can't read them all, but I just wanted to just let you all know that you are not stuck. Even though, hey, mommy, I think that's probably Shekinah. Maybe it's one of the older grandkids, but Shekinah, TJ, or Rennie. But you are not stuck. Just know that you are in transition as we are moving from being in a place where we are bogged down with a lot of baggage. We can release that. We can actually let it go, and we can give ourselves permission to forgive, permission to move forward, and permission to heal. Sometimes what we don't understand is that you have to give your own self permission to heal, because let me just tell you, sometimes God is ready to heal us of the things, of the hurts in our past, but we don't want to let it go. And it's like I said earlier, sometimes you're getting something out of holding on to it. I don't know if it's a thing of power, if it's a thing of control, or what that thing may be in your life. But I challenge you to this week, okay, on this week, as we are getting ready to go into Easter and resurrection time and Palm Sunday and all of those things, allow yourself to release some things in your life. Allow yourself to release some things so God can then refill you with the things that he would like for you to have. And so as I'm closing tonight, I just want you to understand that in this next season, because guess what? The seasons change. The seasons change. So in this next season that's approaching, I want you to be able to allow God to refresh your faith. And I want you to be able to find peace in this new season. I hope everyone has enjoyed grandstanding on tonight. I always enjoy grandstanding and being able to come and share with you all just a little bit. I try to keep it 30 minutes. Sometimes I go a little bit over, but it's a great, I'm blessed. I am definitely blessed. And I'm so honored that those of you will turn aside what you're doing on your busy Tuesday afternoons or whenever you're listening to it, to just come in and to just listen, to see what God has given me to share with you all. And I like to say, as I am grandstanding, I'm talking about the grand things that is happening, not only in my life, but in the lives of the people that are in my circle, in my world. And so this gives me an opportunity to share the goodness of God. A lot of times when we are trying to, think about how can I share my testimony? How can I share my faith? How can I share and represent Christ well in the way that will be pleasing to him? And sometimes we don't understand what he's doing or how he's doing things, how he sets things up. One of the things before I get off, I absolutely love when I wake up in the mornings, and most of the time it is 7 days a week. I can look forward to finding a good morning from Sister Sherry. I can look forward to seeing something that is encouraging that's coming from her. I can look forward to it. So that has become one of the pulpits that God has allowed her to have to share him with others and to represent him well. And I find that this has become one of the pulpits that God has opened the door for me. I'm not standing up in a church. I'm not standing wherever, but this has become an opportunity for me to share the goodness of God. And I am so privileged to be able to share it with you. So I hope you enjoyed it on tonight. And as my sister Cynthia would say, good night, grandstanders. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you all on next Tuesday. Everybody have a great night. Bye-bye, everybody. Y'all see this hair? Mm-hmm. Yes, God is doing some new things. And I'm loving it. Somebody told me today when I was sharing with them about my 40-something-year-old daughter, she looked at me and said, Miss Caldwell, I know you do not have a 40-something-year-old daughter. I said, sure I do. I said, guess what? I'm 61 years old. And she said, oh my goodness, you cannot be 61. When I say God is good, God is good. All right, bye-bye, everybody.